The quote from the first episode of Classroom of the Elite sets a thematic tone for the series. In this episode, we meet the protagonist, Kiyotaka Ayanokoji, who begins his school year at an elite government-run institution that aims to train and nurture the country's future elite. This school operates on a unique point system that evaluates students not only on individual performance, but also on how they contribute to or detract from the class's overall success. The students are sorted into 4 classes from A to D based on merit. Class A contains the highest performing students who receive the most resources and privileges, followed by Class B and Class C, which consist of above average and average students respectively. Class D is at the bottom, filled with students perceived to have various deficiencies, but they are provided opportunities to rise to higher classes through improved performance. The school operates on a dynamic merit-based system, where students' class assignments can change based on academic achievements and behavioral evaluations. This class structure creates a competitive environment that drives the narrative, influencing character development and the series' exploration of societal themes. The episode demonstrates the concept of evil as Nietzsche might interpret it: actions and decisions born out of weakness, leading to unfavorable consequences. For Class D, their weakness is their lack of foresight and discipline. They frivolously spend their points without considering the consequences. Receiving no points for the month because of their neglect of studies and responsibilities embodies the idea that their evil, or downfall, is a direct result of their own weaknesses. Ayanokoji, the protagonist, navigates this system with more caution and awareness compared to his peers. His careful spending and attempts to understand and manipulate social dynamics illustrate a resistance to the weakness that Nietzsche describes. His manipulation of the situation with Suzune Horikita at the cafe, though seemingly benign, could be seen as a tactic born from his own weakness, an inability to connect openly and genuinely with others, thus resorting to manipulation. Kiyotaka's interactions and the narrative's unfolding reveal a nuanced exploration of what constitutes weakness and how it leads to evil outcomes, as per Nietzsche's philosophy. The students' neglect of their academic and financial responsibilities, leading to the loss of their points, can be interpreted as an evil born from their lack of self-control and foresight. This ties back to Nietzsche's idea that weakness is at the root of evil behaviors and consequences. The school system itself could be argued to embody Nietzsche's concept by fostering a hyper-competitive environment that perhaps encourages the weaknesses, like complacency, manipulation, and selfishness, it then punishes. This system pushes students to either rise above or succumb to them, thereby illustrating Nietzsche's idea of evil as a result of personal and collective weaknesses. Ayanokoji, who initially appears melancholic and unmotivated, is soon revealed to be highly capable and strategic. The school system itself, which ostensibly rewards merit, may also implicitly encourage students to exploit each other's weaknesses to maintain their status and privileges. The quote helps to frame the narrative's exploration of whether actions derived from self-preservation and competitive necessity can be justified, or if they merely represent moral failings. This thematic underpinning suggests that the series will stare into complex questions of ethics, individualism, and the societal pressures that shape our definitions of success and morality. The system's setup, where students' fortunes are tied to their classmates, fosters a cutthroat atmosphere, highlighting the idea that circumstances of pressure and competition might reveal the true moral fiber, or lack thereof, of individuals. In the second episode of the show, Chabashira breaks down the school's ranking system for the first-year students. The 4 classes are ranked hierarchically based on academic merit and performance. However, classes aren't set in stone. The students in the lowest-ranked D class have a pathway to move up if they excel on their exams and assessments. By achieving exceptional scores, the D-class students can earn promotion to the higher C-class ranking. Additionally, Chabashira issues a stern warning. Given their current academic standing, any student who fails another exam faces expulsion from the school. This revelation about the high-stakes consequences shakes the class, causing most to buckle down and apply themselves more diligently to their studies. However, there remain 3 students who appear unfazed and continue to slack off, seemingly undeterred by the threat of being expelled for poor performance. Despite the heightened sense of urgency gripping their classmates, these 3 individuals persist in their carefree attitudes toward academics, seemingly oblivious or apathetic to the serious ramifications they now face. Throughout the episode, as Horikita takes steps to improve the class's average score by forming a study group, Ayanokoji's role is more subtle but crucial. Ayanokoji's conversation with Suzune after she treats him to an expensive lunch and asks him to convince 3 other students that are at the bottom tier of the class to join her study group further underscores his abilities as he allows himself to be manipulated by her. He quietly supports Horikita's initiative, ensuring that the study group's formation and function go smoothly. His behind-the-scenes role is critical to the group's effectiveness, though he makes sure his involvement is not conspicuously apparent. This subtle influence is a practical application of the episode's titular quote, as Ayano Koji uses his talents not just in academic pursuits, but in softly steering group dynamics to his and Horikita's advantage. While showcasing our talents is often praised, there are situations where keeping them under wraps can be advantageous. In a world that celebrates achievement, concealing your abilities can act as a shield, protecting you from jealousy, unwanted attention, or fierce competition triggered by your success. This subtlety can also be a sign of humility. By not constantly flaunting your skills, you can create a more welcoming environment for collaboration, fostering a sense of camaraderie among your peers. The way Ayano Koji manipulates the situation to get the three biggest idiots of the class into the library reflects his skill in manipulating people and circumstances without making his intentions obvious. This is particularly significant because it demonstrates his understanding of human behavior and his ability to guide people towards certain actions while keeping his true level of involvement concealed. That night, Kiyotaka overhears Suzune arguing with her brother Manabu, the student council president. Manabu criticizes Suzune's isolated attitude, which led to her placement in D class. When Kiyotaka intervenes, he easily dodges Manabu's strikes, impressing him with his martial arts skills. Manabu recognizes Kiyotaka scored perfectly on entrance exams yet got 50% recently, questioning if intentional. Kiyotaka deflects, calling it coincidence. Manabu expresses surprise Suzune made a friend, which she denies needing, disappointing Manabu before he departs. Later in the episode, his vague responses about his past activities and his evasion when directly questioned about his intentional scoring of exactly half marks on tests showcase his skill in maintaining an aura of mystery and mediocrity, despite possessing much greater capabilities. The episode's end, where Ayano Koji reflects on his actions and the nature of his involvement in class dynamics, further highlights the theme of concealment. He contemplates the impact of his hidden talents on his social standing and future possibilities within the school. This introspection is a critical point, where the audience sees the burden and complexity of constantly hiding one's true self and abilities. In the third episode, Ayano Koji's ability to make good judgments is brought to the forefront, exemplifying the episode's theme based on Adam Smith's quote about human bargaining. His actions go beyond merely helping his classmates pass. They strategically position him as a quiet yet influential figure within Class D. There's also his ability to influence outcomes without drawing attention to himself that showcases his unique blend of intelligence, foresight, and discretion. The further encounter between Ken and students from Class C and Ayano Koji's intervention further illustrate the theme of bargaining. He and Honami Ichinose's ability to diffuse the situation without escalating violence, using their influence and understanding of school rules, shows a sophisticated form of social bargaining. By making these bargains, Ayano Koji not only ensures the academic survival of his peers, but also enhances his standing and control within the class, all while maintaining a low profile. His manipulation and bargaining within the educational and social systems of the school to secure favorable outcomes for himself and his classmates, particularly Ken Sudo, who also got a failing score at an exam, reflects the quote's emphasis on bargaining as a distinctly human behavior that involves not just transactions, but also strategic social interactions and manipulations. Furthermore, Ayano Koji's negotiation with Sai Chabashira to buy Ken's missing point to prevent his expulsion is a literal form of bargaining that highlights how human interactions often revolve around negotiation and exchange for mutual benefit, albeit sometimes at a high cost. His engagement in these transactions often involves personal sacrifices or risks, such as his points or personal safety when dealing with Kushida's threatening behavior at the end of the episode. This incident with her reveals another layer of human interaction, emotional and psychological bargaining. Ayano Koji agrees to keep Kushida's dual personality a secret, which underlines the often complex and hidden negotiations people engage in to maintain relationships or social harmony. Overall, Episode 3 of Classroom of the Elite demonstrates how human interactions are deeply embedded with bargaining, both explicit and implicit. The characters navigate their environment through a series of transactions that reflect their understanding of human nature as fundamentally tied to the concept of exchange and negotiation, perfectly aligning with the episode's opening quote. In Episode 4, the narrative focuses on the complexities of interpersonal relationships and personal integrity. Ayano Koji is not upset that Kushida has hidden the truth from him, but reflects and adapts instead. His interactions are centered around the concealment and revelation of truths, both his own and those of others. For instance, his conversation and actions with Honami Ichinose revolve around the themes of honesty and self-deception. Honami's request for Ayano Koji to pretend to be her boyfriend to avoid hurting Chihiro. Shiranami reveals her own struggle with confronting and expressing the truth about her feelings. Kiyotaka, recognizing the importance of honesty, encourages Honami to be truthful to Chihiro, thus urging her not to hide the truth from herself or others. The reluctance to participate in Honami's deception and his advice to her underscore the message that hiding the truth is detrimental. even if it initially seems to prevent hurt. This interaction highlights that hiding the truth from ourselves can lead to more significant issues, reflecting the quote's notion that self-deception is often the root of problems in interpersonal relationships. Moreover, Ayano Koji's overall demeanor and secretive nature in the series also align with the quote. He is a character who consistently hides his true capabilities and intentions from those around him, reflecting on his understanding that people often prefer comfortable lies to harsh truths. This attribute is further emphasized in his observation of other characters, such as Ichinose and Chihiro, who also grapple with their self-deceptions and the truths they choose to present to the world. The subplot involving Ken Sudo and the search for a witness further explores the theme of hidden truths. The class's struggle to find a witness to clear Sudo's name and the eventual revelation by Airi Sakura demonstrate the consequences of hidden truths and the impact of their revelation on the lives of individuals and the broader community. The episode's focus on Ayano Koji's secretive yet impactful manipulations aligns closely with the episode's quote, suggesting that while individuals may be upset by others withholding truth, they often do the same, either to themselves or others. This exploration of hidden truths and self-deception provides a rich ground for character development, particularly for Ayano Koji, as it goes into the moral and ethical implications of his tactics within the highly competitive environment. The quote from episode 5, "Hell is other people," originally by Jean-Paul Sartre, encapsulates the episode's exploration of interpersonal dynamics and conflicts, particularly focusing on the impact others have on individual actions and mental states. The episode illustrates the quote through the central conflict involving Ken Sudo and students from Class C. The interactions and accusations during the hearing highlight how the presence and actions of others can create a personal hell for the individuals involved. Suzuni's initial silence and the intense pressure felt by all parties during the hearing exemplify the stressful, hellish situations that can arise from negative social interactions. Airi Sakura's personal struggle with shyness and her role as an internet model also tie back to the quote. Her reluctance to give out her contact information and her nervousness about stepping forward with her testimony underscore how her interactions with others contribute to her personal distress. Her interaction with Ayano Koji, however, shows a contrasting perspective where the right company can alleviate the feeling of hell imposed by others. Kyotoka's encouraging words to Airi and his efforts to help her during the hearing demonstrate how individuals can also be a positive influence, challenging the negative aspects of the quote. His actions suggest that while others can create a hellish environment, they can also provide support and relief, depending on the nature of the interaction. The proposal for a compromise in the hearing and the subsequent rejection by Class D show the ongoing conflict and the difficulties in resolving issues that are deeply intertwined with personal biases and external influences. The breakdown of discussions into an argument further emphasizes how interpersonal relations can deteriorate into chaotic and distressful situations, aligning with the idea that hell is other people. Kyotoka's maneuvering throughout the episode, especially his interactions with Manabu and his defense of Airi, showcases his adeptness at navigating the complex social dynamics that often make interactions with others challenging. His ability to maintain composure and defend his peers against accusations highlights a nuanced understanding of the quote, suggesting that while others can indeed create challenging circumstances, one's responses to these challenges can mitigate or exacerbate the situation. Overall, Episode 5 of Classroom of the Elite deeply explores the theme encapsulated by the quote, "Hell is other people." It examines the complexities of human interactions and the ways in which they can create difficult, sometimes hellish conditions, while also offering glimpses of how compassionate and strategic behavior can alter those dynamics for the better. The quote in Episode 6 touches on the nature of deception and its complexity, both in terms of misleading others about past actions and in promising future actions that may not be intended to be fulfilled. The episode goes into the nature of lies and their consequences. Airi Sakura's backstory and her struggle with an obsessed stalker highlight the destructive impact of lies related to accomplished facts, specifically regarding her past life as an internet model and how it affects her present. The letters from her stalker embody lies that romanticize and warp the reality of their relationship, leading to dangerous outcomes. Kyotoka and Suzuni's manipulation of the situation with the Class C boys who accused Ken showcases lies concerning future duties. They strategically use the threat of exposing the truth through security camera footage to leverage a withdrawal of the accusations against Ken. This manipulation, though arguably for a just cause, illustrates how lies about future actions or consequences can be used to influence present decisions. The resolution at the hearing, where Class C withdraws their complaint under duress, further explores the theme of lies related to future duties. The suggestion that everyone can walk away safely if the accusations are withdrawn while resolving the immediate conflict implies ongoing manipulation and the potential for future repercussions. Airi's traumatic encounter with her stalker, Yukitsu Kusuda, brings the episode's theme to a climax. The lies about his feelings and intentions, confronted by the stark reality of his actions, illustrate the dangers of lies tied to accomplished facts. Kiyotaka's intervention using deception, pretending that the whole incident was recorded, ultimately saves Sakura, again showing how lies about future repercussions can be used defensively. The episode raises ethical questions about the use of deception in both defending against and confronting wrongdoing. Kiyotaka's and Suzune's actions, while effective, leave open questions about the morality of their methods. This ties back to Rousseau's idea, suggesting that the nature of a lie, whether about past facts or future duties, can significantly affect its ethical implications. Kiyotaka's central role in navigating these complex situations and Suzune's challenge to him about his methods and intentions highlight the ongoing tension between utilitarian needs and ethical practices. Suzune's confrontation with Kiyotaka about the true nature of his actions and his past further underscores the deep layers of deception and manipulation that permeate the school's culture. Overall, Episode 6 of Classroom of the Elite uses its narrative to explore the complexities of lies, manipulation, and the ethical dilemmas they create. It reflects on the nature of deception as it pertains to both accomplished facts and future duties, providing a rich ground for character development and philosophical inquiry. In Episode 7, the theme revolves around the risks and dangers of uninformed or naive allies compared to adversaries whose capabilities and intentions are well understood. The episode illustrates the danger posed by ignorant friends through the plan orchestrated by D-class boys to install cameras in the girls' changing room. This plan, driven by immaturity and a lack of awareness of consequences, represents a significant threat not only to the privacy and dignity of their classmates, but also to the cohesion and moral standing of the entire class. The boys' actions underscore how ignorance and misguided intentions among friends can lead to harmful outcomes, echoing La Fontaine's warning. Ayano Koji's role in the episode is complex. Aware of the boys' plan, he chooses not to stop them directly, but instead uses Horikita's presence and speech at the pool as a diversion to ultimately thwart the plan without directly confronting his classmates. This reflects the second part of the quote regarding the preference for a wise enemy. Kiyotaka acts more like a cunning adversary than a friend, by manipulating the situation to prevent harm while maintaining a facade of neutrality. Suzune, initially portrayed as isolated and focused solely on her studies, is unwittingly drawn into Kiyotaka's scheme. Her actions in removing the SD cards from the cameras to destroy the evidence highlight her growing involvement and capability in handling school politics. The confrontation between Kiyotaka and Suzune at the pool, resulting in both pushing each other into the water, symbolizes a turning point in their relationship. This playful yet poignant moment indicates a shift from mere co-conspirators to participants in each other's school life challenges. The final scene where Suzune receives a photo from Kiyotaka and smiles, despite her earlier claim of independence, suggests a softening of her stance towards needing others. This moment reflects a subtle but significant change in her character, acknowledging the value of connections, and perhaps reconsidering the dangers of ignorant friends versus the benefits of wise ones. Episode 7 neatly uses its plot and character dynamics to explore themes of trust, deception, and the complexities of friendships and enmities. In Episode 8, using Dante Alighieri's famous quote, the setting shifts dramatically as all first-year students embark on a luxurious cruise ship for a class trip. This famous line from Dante's Inferno signals the entrance to hell, warning of despair and the abandonment of hope for those who pass through. Similarly, in this episode, the students are led onto a luxurious cruise, only to find themselves facing unexpected trials and manipulations. The ominous nature of the quote, suggesting that the cruise is not just a simple educational trip, but a journey into a more complex and challenging experience. Ayano Koji's interaction with Chabashira, where he learns about the threat to his school status, underscores the episode's dark theme. Chabashira's warning and her proposition for him to aim for Class A under threat of expulsion bring to light the manipulative and coercive tactics used by the school's administration. This moment of confrontation illustrates Kiyotaka's precarious position within the school's social and power hierarchies, emphasizing the quote's theme of despair and the potential loss of hope. The episode also delves into the dynamics between different classes. The altercation involving Sudo and Yahiko Totsuka, along with Kohei Katsuragi's intervention, showcases the ongoing rivalries and the struggle for dominance and respect among the students. These tensions reflect the challenging and hostile environment that the quote suggests, portraying the school as a battleground where hope and camaraderie are often overshadowed by competition and conflict. The interactions within Class C, particularly between Ryuin and Ibuki, as well as Ryuin's manipulation attempts on Suzune, further highlight the internal discord and the breakdown of trust within the classes. These elements align with the quote's implications of despair and the treacherous human landscape the students navigate, where alliances are fragile and betrayals are frequent. The revelation of the survival test on a deserted island at the episode's end literalizes the quote's warning, This unexpected twist sets the stage for a trial that will likely push the students to their limits, testing their resilience, ingenuity, and ability to maintain hope in a seemingly hopeless situation. Episode 8 uses its narrative and character developments to explore themes of despair, manipulation, and survival in a competitive academic setting. The quote from Dante not only sets a somber tone, but also serves as a thematic anchor for the unfolding events, preparing the audience for the intense psychological and moral challenges that lie ahead for the students. Jean-Paul Sartre's quote from the beginning of episode 9 provides a philosophical reflection on the nature of freedom and responsibility, which directly ties into the challenges and decisions faced by the students during their survival test on the island. The episode showcases the students' struggle with the freedom to make choices under the survival test's framework, emphasizing that their decisions have direct consequences on their class points and standings. The students must plan and strategize on how to best use their resources, choose a leader, and set up a campsite, all decisions that exemplify their freedom to shape their outcomes, but also the weight of the responsibility that comes with this freedom. The group's deliberations on spending S points, protecting the leader, and securing landmarks for bonus points highlight the complex interplay between individual freedom and collective strategy. Each decision requires considering both immediate needs and long-term impacts, underscoring Sartre's idea that with freedom comes the burden of choice, which inevitably leads to consequences that must be owned by those who make the decisions. The inclusion of Mio Ibuki from Class C into the campsite of Class D raises questions about trust, enemy lines, and the ethical use of their freedom. The group's decision to help her despite being from a rival class speaks to the broader moral implications of their freedom, showing compassion can transcend competitive instincts. Rokusuki's decision to abandon the group and the subsequent loss of S points exemplify the negative consequences of misusing individual freedom. His actions affect not just him but his entire class, highlighting the interconnectedness of individual choices within a group context and the broader repercussions that can arise. Overall, Episode 9 effectively explores the complexities of freedom within the structure of a competitive educational setting. The survival test on the island serves as a microcosm for life's broader challenges, where freedom is intertwined with responsibility and every choice carries weight. The students' experiences reflect Sartre's assertion that freedom, while empowering, also imposes a burden of responsibility that cannot be escaped, shaping one's destiny and that of others. In Episode 10, the theme explores the internal conflicts and the potential for self-betrayal within individuals. This episode illustrates the inner betrayals students face, particularly highlighted by the reconnaissance missions to observe other camps. Each camp's strategy reflects their internal dynamics and decisions that can sometimes betray their own best interests or reveal the darker sides of their leadership and group cohesion. The strategic locations and guarded setups of Classes B and A reflect a more controlled and defensive approach, indicating a mistrust of external forces and possibly internal dissent. Suzuni's encounter with Class A's security shows how external appearances can mask internal fears and weaknesses. Under Raiwan's leadership, Class C spends all their points and treats the test like a vacation, a risky strategy that could be seen as betraying the conventional purpose of gathering and conserving resources. This reflects Raiwan's bold but potentially treacherous leadership style, where he punishes Mio for dissent, illustrating a betrayal of trust and respect within the class. The incident in Class D's camp where someone breaks into the girls' tent and the subsequent discovery of stolen underwear in Ike's bag present direct examples of betrayal among classmates. These actions not only breach trust, but also threaten the unity and moral fiber of the group. Ayanokoji's role in these events is particularly complex. His involvement in taking the underwear to protect Ike under the guise of minimal personal reputational damage due to his relationship with Kei is a calculated move that involves self-sacrifice, but also manipulation. This action could be seen as a betrayal of the straightforward truth for a greater strategic good, embodying Kierkegaard's idea of the dangerous internal traitor. The episode raises questions about the nature of betrayal and loyalty, whether it's in leadership decisions, individual actions within a group, or strategies against other classes. The characters constantly negotiate their internal moral compasses against external pressures and opportunities. The quote from Episode 11 illuminates the episode's exploration of personal decisions and their consequences, emphasizing how the characters' actions shape their own destinies, often negatively due to their poor judgment or lack of foresight. The episode portrays a series of events where trust within Class D continues to erode following the underwear theft incident. The decision by the girls to separate the camps based on gender, while intended to safeguard their comfort, reflects a knee-jerk reaction that perhaps exacerbates division and suspicion among the students. This decision, driven by mistrust and fear, illustrates Schopenhauer's notion that what might seem like an inevitable breakdown in relationships, fate, is actually the result of poor decisions, stupidity. Ayanokoji, chosen to help with the girls' camp due to his perceived non-threatening behavior, shows a different side of fate, how being underestimated or overlooked can lead to being trusted with responsibilities. His interactions with Mio Ibuki further reveal the complexities of trust, as he chooses to believe in her despite her being an outsider and a suspect, which contrasts with the general paranoia infecting the group. The theft of Suzune's leader card and the subsequent fire at the camp represent pivotal moments where individual actions driven by selfish or malicious intent directly affect the group's stability and safety. These actions, aligning with Schopenhauer's quote, suggest that the disastrous situations the class finds itself in are not due to some external fate, but are directly caused by the student's own actions and decisions. Mio's aggressive actions against Suzune, violating the test's rules, underscore a calculated risk that could have significant repercussions for all involved. Her behavior is a direct example of how individual stupidity, in the form of rule-breaking and betrayal, can reshape one's fate, impacting not only the perpetrator but also others around them. Overall, Episode 11 effectively uses its narrative to explore the themes of decision-making and its impact on fate, encapsulated by Schopenhauer's quote, "The student's actions, whether they are decisions of trust, deceit, or perseverance, play crucial roles in shaping their experiences and outcomes." This episode highlights that many of the misfortunes the characters face are not merely bad luck or destiny, but are often the direct results of their own flawed judgments and decisions. "A genius lives only one story above madness," a quote by Arthur Schopenhauer, appears at the beginning of the final episode of Season 1, and encapsulates the fine line between brilliance and folly. Ayano Koji's actions throughout the survival test embodies the quote as he orchestrates complex schemes that balance on the edge of ethical ambiguity and strategic genius. His manipulation of events, such as leading Mio to steal the leader card and ensuring Suzune's withdrawal, demonstrates a level of cunning that borders on ruthless. These actions, while securing Class D's victory, also cast a shadow over his moral compass, suggesting that his genius teeters towards a kind of madness in his cold, calculated use of people as pawns. The episode showcases various levels of alliances and betrayals among the classes, particularly between Class A and Class C, further illustrates the depths of deception and manipulation at play, tying back to the quote's implication of the madness inherent in genius-level strategizing. Suzune's own journey through the episode reflects her struggle with trust and leadership. Her initial isolation due to her illness and subsequent manipulation by Kiyotaka highlight her vulnerability. Yet by the end, she emerges as a figure of authority and respect within Class D, unknowingly benefiting from Kiyotaka's schemes. Her growth underscores the madness of the circumstances under which she ascends, spurred by the genius manipulations of Ayano Koji. The final revelations about Kiyotaka's motivations and his view of his classmates as merely tools to achieve his ends provide a chilling conclusion to the season. His comparison to Icarus by Sai Chabashira and his internal acknowledgement that he is willing to use humanity for his purposes echo Schopenhauer's assertion about the proximity of genius to madness. Kiyotaka's actions throughout the test reveal a disquieting comfort with manipulation and control, suggesting that his intellectual superiority comes with significant ethical compromises. Episode 12 quickly wraps up the survival test with a complex interplay of strategy, betrayal, and personal evolution, all underpinned by the Schopenhauer quote. The finale leaves viewers contemplating the moral implications of Ayano Koji's actions and the true cost of victory in the cutthroat environment of advanced, nurturing high school.